just before we get going, we've got one correction to make, and that was when I pushed Scotland up here, it forced Ireland back up one, and that's because of this middle ground rule. However, the middle ground rule doesn't apply to Ireland and Scotland, it's only on these two parts of the political track. So Ireland should be back here, and the +1 strength should still be on the Ireland army. And now we can begin with our next card, and it's going to be a battle. It's October 1642, and the first major battle of the English Civil War ends in a draw as both sides' forces were raw and untrained. Royalist cavalry prevailed, but parliamentary infantry did not yield. The Battle of Edge Hill. Right, let's get that one going, and I think we're going to choose to battle the west, I think. I've only got 4 zeal this turn from Bristol and London, and I don't want to lose that. Let's start by drawing some troops. Well, here we are. We've got one event, and we're looking good there in the 4th and 2nd. The 3rd they've got us pipped, but hopefully Cromwell will win and come and offer his support. So let's draw that event card. And it says Kentish pressed men mutiny, and we have to resolve this one immediately. Subtract 1 from the combat values of the strongest parliamentary musket and pike units. It's more than 1 if the strongest unit is tied. So that's a -1 strength on just this one unit here. Okay, now I want to make sure I win this because things are getting tight, so let's spend a zeal point and get the +1 strength, and I think I'll put it on one of these units here. We'll put it here in the 3rd. Okay, let's start up here with Cromwell. We've got 2 versus 6. And we've got the victory, no problem. And he's going to come down and off with +3 strength here. At 2nd, we've got 4 versus 5. So Ironside's at risk here a little bit. But he's victorious, no problem there. That's 6 versus 11. Excellent. Now for the 3rd, we've got 9 versus 11. So we're 2 ahead, so it's all down to the dice rolls. And we lose. Unfortunately. 13 versus 13. Yep, that's a draw. That's a draw. That's a shame. That's all going to come down to this one here. It's 5 versus 7. So we've got 2 up on the dice. Let's go. And, oh no, that's bad. 10, 11 versus 9. That's a victory for them. So it's going to be declared a draw, this battle, which means we lose 1 zeal. Sorry, these go here. There's no named units in here. So that battle cost us 2 zeal. Now the north is going to activate twice. So we'll move from Chester to York, and then once more into Stafford. This hard work's getting undone. Right, the west is going to activate once, and it's going to besiege Bristol. So let's roll a die higher than a 2. Yep. Job done. Next we have Owen Roe O'Neill arrives in County Donegal to fight for Ireland and the Catholic faith. He was the leading representative of the O'Neills and head of the Ulster Irish. Catholicism comes down 1 spot. And Parliament orders the fortification of London as Charles advances on the city. Parliament gets a +1 die roll modifier. So that one goes here. Catholicism comes down into the D zone. Desperate times, desperate times. Well, desperate times calls for desperate measures. I think this is an action we've not taken yet, but once per track, on the political track, you can lower Puritanism or Parliament by 1 to get 1 zeal. Likewise, if you control Dublin, you can lower Ireland for a zeal, and if you control Edinburgh, lower Scotland. I don't control either of those, so let's grab a zeal point by moving Parliament down. I'm not going to make use of this die roll modifier here this turn, and I think I'll make immediate use of that and try and push the west back from Somerset into Devon. I need higher than a 4. I want to keep the rest. I could use that. 1 in 3 to 1 in 5. If I do it twice, it's... yeah, I want to try and keep it to try and fortify if I can succeed. That's a fail. Okay, let's try one more time. No, we failed. One more? Yeah, one more. Disaster. No, it's a massive fail. Dear, 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 it's not going well. 3 zeal is all I've got for next time. And it is the Marquis of Montrose raises his standard. 1644, the Scottish Marquis of Montrose, the Great Montrose, raises his standard and declares for King Charles. He then launches a military campaign opening with a victory at Aberdeen. So Scotland gets +1 straight and activates. It's not going well, is it? It's moving into the lowlands. The west activates, and they're going to move from Somerset to Sussex. And then we get an uprising in the west. Okay, well, we've got to roll a die for this one, and it'll go in the corresponding region in the rest. If we roll a 6, and we manage to avoid it, we can discard it. 6, please. Yes! Excellent, excellent. Alright, well, we needed a little bit of good luck, didn't we? What would have happened? Let's roll a 3. It would have gone down here in Somerset, and then they would have just like a fortification, but with the west down here, we'd have to push the west back before we could take on this uprising. Okay, but as it goes, we rolled a 6, so it just goes back to the supply. Next, Puritans assert Montrose is an agent of the Pope. He led 2,000 crack Irish infantrymen along with Catholic Scottish Highlanders against Lowlanders and Covenanters. Scotland's coming down the track. Charles's cause is boosted by Montrose's successful actions in Scotland. Monarchy's coming down the track. Bad news, bad news. Is there anything other than bad news in this game? Scotland's coming down, monarchy's coming down. Ooh, that's got to go. Since it was left over from last time. Right, with desperate measures, I'm going to bring Parliament down again, and I'm going to spend that zeal to put +1 on the west. And let's try and push him back. So I need a 4 or more. Let's use 1 zeal. Yes, excellent. He's back in Somerset. Right, we've got to do that again. 4 more, please. No, that's a fail. That's a 1. One more time. Another 1. Nasty. Okay. We're still surviving, just. Long Parliament passes Act to regulate Privy Council. The Long Parliament passes laws regulating the King's Privy Council, eliminating the Star Chamber Court and High Commission by the Habeas Corpus Act, and having regular assemblies. Scotland's going to activate, which pushes them from the lowlands to the borders, region number 2. We have unrest in London, which is a siege on London. That's bad news. Anything higher than a 2? A 1, brilliant. Survived the first. Second, no, we didn't survive. So that's London back down to the lowest 2. Puritanism goes down. Archbishop Laud brings back altar rails to protect altars from desecration and re-emphasises the sacraments, particularly the Eucharist. Puritans are outraged. And we get +1 zeal point, that's nice. Parliament announces plots by Jesuits and threats of invasion by France. The bad news is Puritanism's down in the F zone, but we do have an extra zeal. Okay, I don't know what's coming, so what should we focus on this time? London, I suppose. We've got to fortify London. Let's do that a couple of times. I'm guessing we've got to try and push Puritanism back up. Let's do that. Higher than a 2. Yeah, no problem. We've got 1 more zeal. I think we should try and push the west back 1 more. Let's do that. Higher than a 4. Yes! Excellent. Good job. 2 cards left. Scots siege English land. King Charles signs treaty. It's October 1640. After the defeat of the Earl of Strafford, King Charles is compelled to sign a Treaty of Ripon and cede land to the Scottish Covenanters and leave Newcastle in the hands of the Scots. Scotland's getting a +1 strength and activating twice. The first time it activates, it's going to Northumberland, but it can advance no further, so instead you have to apply its activation to the Army of the North instead. So this pushes the North from Stafford into Nottingham. That says we must besiege or fortify Edinburgh, and that's a fortify round to the next 2. It's looking pretty dodgy now, but we're nearly there. We might survive. Okay, the Covenanters' victory also promoted Presbyterianism as a form of church government as opposed to episcopacy, which was favoured by the Crown. Scotland comes down the track. John Pym creates the Parliamentary Committee of Safety. The purpose of the committee was to secure funds first for the King and later for Parliament. Catholicism gets a +1 DRM. That's nice. Okay, what to do. Well, let's fortify London. These are all down here. Let's try and push one of them up, I think. Let's try and push Catholicism up. We need more than 4 with a +1 DRM, so 4 or more. Okay, that's a 3. That's no good. Let's try pushing the North back. We need a 5 or a 6. That's right, isn't it? I was on 3. Fortify London. Yep. Need a 5 or a 6. Yes, got it. You're going back to Stafford. This is it then, final card. Okay. Parliament offers King propositions of Uxbridge. November 1644. Parliament offers the King terms for peace, but are rebuffed as Charles's forces have won recent victories. Meanwhile, Cromwell becomes critical of the Earl of Manchester's lack of energy. Scotland activates, and in the west twice. So Scotland's already here. That comes off. So is that. Let's do 3 zeal. Okay, so Scotland's going to push the north back into Nottingham. Now the west activates twice, so they're just going to move from Devon through Somerset into Sussex, closing in. Besiege or fortify Edinburgh, pushes that one around to 3. And then, okay, we've got to grab a couple of choices here. Puritans in Parliament act on their pledges in the Covenant to reform the Church and attempt to cancel Christmas. Poor kiddies. You may either cancel Christmas for Puritanism going up 1, Parliament coming down 1, or you may keep Christmas, Puritanism coming down 1 and getting 1 zeal point. Well, that's what I'm going to do. We're going to keep Christmas. The kids are safe. Puritanism comes down into the F zone. We've got 2 in the F zone. We're still okay, but I get 1 zeal. and King Charles rejects peace from a position of waxing royalist military support. Monarchy comes down 1. And this pushes them down into this F zone. And it says revolts and deviltry +1 strength. In fact, if you switch over to token, it shows you that as well. Okay. Okay. What I have to do now is start thinking about victory points. And what I'd like to do is, I think, try and push the west back. So let's spend a zeal. Put this here. Let's spend a zeal and roll 4 or more. That's a fail. 1 more. That's a fail. Final chance. That's a fail. Okay. So we've reached the end of the First Civil War. Now at this stage we could set up the Second Civil War deck and continue playing, or as I'm going to do here, we can finish it here and count up our victory score and see how well we've done. First thing we'll do is we'll look for any blue triangles. These are positive victory points, and chances are that you're not going to have many of these unless you're really good. So there's none here, none here, none here. So you can see if you've got your political tracks up in these zones, then you're going to be earning positive victory points. I'm going to be losing quite a few because I've got these red ones. Red ones are negative victory points. So let's have a quick scout around and look for any blue triangles. Other places where you can get blue triangles are if you push armies back into the 4 or 5 zones. As it goes, all the enemy, the royalist armies are down in 1s and 2s for us, so not good. Or if you control fortresses, then you can get a positive blue triangle. Again, we've lost them all with the exception of London. It's not all bad news though, because we did grab a couple of achievements. So this is going to give us 6 victory points. 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3. So we start with 6. Let's see how the negatives hit that tally. Fortunately, there are no deviltry or revolt markers on the map, so they would give you negatives. So they don't hurt us. But we do have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 fortresses in control by the royalists. That's -5. So we're already down to just 1 victory point. And then the political markers, well, these are all fine. We didn't head into the really bad positions. Unfortunately, though, these ones are bad. So that's -2 here, -4 here, -4 here. That's -10. Added to our +1, -9 is our final score. There is a chart in the back of the rulebook, and it says, First Civil War victory. At the conclusion of the bronze deck, check your victory point score and compare it to the listing below. -7 or fewer is a crushing defeat. So unfortunately, yeah, we didn't. We got crushed. -2 to +2 is still a substantial defeat. So minor victory is 3 to 7. 18 or more is a decisive victory. Okay, so we did conclude with a crushing defeat. Well, I've learned a lot from playing the game. I think that you've really got to try and stay on top of these fortresses. I was focusing very much on these, which, okay, it earned me some achievements, but it didn't lose me any victory points. These ones and these are the things that really hit my score. That was Cruel Necessity. I hope you enjoyed this playthrough. See you next time.